Hello friends, SentinalH here, and welcome back to some more Civ 6 theory crafting. So in this episode I want to show you first an update to an older city design, the Tri-City, and then I want to show you another city design that I've come up with, the aptly named Triforce. And first we'll start with the updated Tri-Cities design. So if you remember the old Tri-Cities design, the cities were 4 tiles apart, and now the cities are 3 tiles apart. Well, there's 3 tiles in between them. Now, when I had them 4 tiles apart, you could fit all of the districts, one of each, within the triangle shape. Now, once you compress them with only 3 tiles between them, you can't actually do that. There's only 9 tiles within the triangle shape, which means you'd still have at least a couple more districts, at least 4 more of the main ones, like the commercial and the industrial and those ones, to place around here, which is fine because it all fits within the larger area created by these triple encampments. If you build these encampments in these locations, you essentially create a heavily fortified area. I think it's pretty cool because it essentially means that if people want to attack you, then it becomes much more difficult. Now, I spread them out like this so that you'd have more room to fit districts. However, if you're not going to build as many districts, you can actually move them in like this. And if you did that, if you moved them in like that, and then you only built 2 additional districts in each city, you would end up with a very compact triple city layout that's also incredibly difficult to attack from the sides. People would have to attack from the corners, because if you ever tried to attack from these sides, you'd be getting bombarded from multiple directions with these encampments here. But I kind of like to have the encampments out here. Still, if you were going to build a setup like this, then, whatever you want to do. Obviously, this one is harder to build because it takes up more of a footprint, whereas the smaller one is incredibly compact. Another benefit of making it, I'm going to put this right back, another benefit of making it, come on, super compact like this, is that if we count up more squares here, and we place another city center over here, then this one doesn't really doesn't interfere as much with the placement of the city, although it doesn't really. You can tile these quite effectively in order to create essentially a megacity, but I feel like this tri-city design, this tiny one, is best for scattering around the map, having each like pockets of 3 cities. You'll also see some farms here. I just wanted to throw in a pocket of 3 farms in every city. I think I'm going to start doing that from now on, making sure that each of my cities gets 3 farms right at the beginning as quickly as possible, just so that they can grow faster. And of course, once we get feudalism, those will get boosted. I mean, you could completely, because all these cities, 1, 2, 3, they can all essentially reach each other with their build range. You could completely cover this area with, with stuff. I've only got the 3 main districts set up here. I feel like in each group of tri-cities, you're going to want at least one of the districts that provide adjacency to other cities, the commercial hub, the industrial zone, and the entertainment complex, because they'll boost each other, and because one city can't benefit from more than one, you don't really need more than one. Obviously, you're going to want more than one of these, in 3 cities because you want more money, but you don't need more than one. And these are the big ones that I feel you want at least one of in each city, so I placed these. But of course, then you can fill out with other districts. Importantly, I feel like this is a good design for use by Hojo, because which is Japan. Because if you didn't know, Japan not only has a specialty called Meiji Restoration, which causes his districts to gain extra adjacency from each other, but he builds the theater squares, holy sites, and the encampments twice as fast. So what you can do then is you can have, you know, each of those, the ones that he builds the fastest in your little central zone, and they'll all fit within this. So at very least, I feel like Hojo benefits a lot from having this sort of a setup. Now, of course, if you move these encampments out, you can then put more stuff here. But I think it's really interesting. I like the little tiny design. It's small enough that you shouldn't have too much trouble fitting this in pretty much anywhere. I mean, it's only 5 tiles across in any direction, so pretty easy to fit in. And so this is the updated version of the Tri-City. Now, if we go on, also, how do you like the change to my city planner? Now I've got the actual icons from the game. It should be less confusing. The big show here, though, is what I call the Triforce City. This is 6 cities arranged in a triangle. Call it the Triforce because, of course, if you connect lines between these, you end up with the Triforce. Now, the benefit of this is it's essentially a Megacity -1 city, and instead of placing 2 additional cities down here, you place 1 up at the top. And this has a benefit, I feel, that depending on what location you're in, this could actually be easier to fit in than the Megacity, because it's much more likely that you'll have room to place 1 more city up here than to place 2 down here. This requires a really large open area, whereas I feel like this thing can sneak in somewhere even if there's not a lot of room. You could still kind of get it in there. But anyway, it's almost as difficult to build as the Megacity. So as you can see, we've got our encampments between each of our cities. And again, this makes it almost impossible for an enemy to effectively attack one of these side cities. These 3 cities are very heavily defended because of the encampments. If you're trying to attack these central cities, then you're going to be bombarded by at least 2, possibly even 3 separate encampments. If you're right here, you can get bombarded by these 2. If you're here, you can get bombarded by those 2. I don't actually think, now that I look at it, there's a way you can get bombarded by 3. But, well, you could if you were inside the border. But if you're, like, right here, you're getting bombarded by all 3 of these. You're in a bad spot. If you're here, you're getting bombarded by 4, but you're not going to get in there. Any enemy who moves their stuff in there would be really stupid, because that's suicide. The corner cities are a little more vulnerable, but, you know, just defend them. So the benefit of the Tri-City is that you can get 6 cities all together, benefiting from the Colosseum because this fits. So every single one of these is benefiting from the Colosseum and from a commercial district, a industrial zone, and a entertainment complex. So I mean, again, I've placed these right in the center so that all the cities can benefit. So you need at least 1 of these. These need to be in this location, although you can move these around. They need to be in these 4 tiles if you want all the cities to benefit. Because if we go from the Colosseum and we count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's the range. Unless you have some stuff that boosts it, but that doesn't boost the Colosseum, it only boosts these things. This is a way that you can get all 6 cities benefiting. Then throw your districts in anywhere. All of the districts in the game, except for the neighborhoods and aqueducts, all of the main districts here will fit within this triangle with 1 empty space. And that 1 empty space can be anywhere except for this here. I would recommend the empty space being on an edge. But if you place your theater squares properly, let's say you go ahead and place, like, especially the peak up here. I mean, for these 3 cities, it's pretty obvious where you should place your theater districts. They should be adjacent to the Colosseum. This one has to go there or there, and then this one can go here. You can fit 3 theaters adjacent to the Colosseum, so they're all gaining the adjacency bonus for being next to a wonder. You could place another wonder right here if you wanted to, or down here. The theater squares for these other cities down here, for instance, if I placed the theater square 1, 2, 3 for this city here, and I placed the theater square for this city right next to it, we could then build a wonder on this tile, and it would benefit 3 theater squares. This city down here still needs to place its theater square 1, 2, and it could go here and then you could place a wonder here, and it would benefit these two theater squares. And because of these two spots here being adjacent to a city center, you could stick something like the Forbidden Palace down, because it has to be adjacent to your city center. But of course, it all depends on what your terrain ends up being. So as you can see, there's plenty of room for all these districts, and there's plenty of opportunities for you to create adjacencies. Now, if you want to stick every single district in, then you're not going to be able to get maximum adjacencies for everything, but it should be pretty good. The main benefit of this also is that you can have these 3 cities right here. These are the ones that need to build these, and so if each of these cities builds one of these, then they'll have their other district slots available for some other key districts. I don't feel like, unless you're playing Germany, I don't really feel like you can get every single district in one city easily, or it would make much sense, because you don't get that extra district. But you know, right off the bat, by the time you get your first district, you're going to have 2 to 3 population. You'll be able to build 2 districts per city. And if you start with this inner triangle, which is what I'd recommend if you're going to go for this design, start with this inner triangle of 3 cities. These would be your first 3 cities. Each of these builds one of these once you gain access to it, and then also builds, you know, probably whether you're going heavy religion for a holy site or whether you're going heavy science built for a campus, get those basic ones built. If you're going for Hojo, of course, you can build these 2, and then add the corners as you expand. And for your first 3 encampments, you're probably going to want to go in a roundabout. So build that one, and that one, because then you'd have a decent grouping. If you just built like these 2 or so, you can't do that because you get these. But place these so that they're, you know, protecting you. Again, with farms, I placed some farms down. Just each city can easily get a bunch of farms. You could place them in here, but then you couldn't do the district thing. Because all the districts fit in this triangle, you can place whatever you want outside of the bounds. You could surround it in farms if you wanted to. It's good. Each city does have ample space for these adjacencies, and if you placed a lot of farms, you could get a lot of adjacency bonuses and just have a ton of food. So I think that this setup is quite good. It's one less city compared to the Megacity, but it is slightly easier to build, and it doesn't have the same problem of the central city in the Megacity just having no tiles left at the end of the game. With this setup, all of your cities have ample tiles outside of the triangle that you can use for whatever you want. So I think it's pretty good. Now obviously you're never going to find a location to build this thing where there aren't any resources inside this triangle. It's just too big of an area. So I feel like, you know, you're always going to have tiles in here that you're not going to want to build districts on. You're going to want to build mines on, luxuries or bonus resources or things of that nature. So you're never actually going to completely fill this with districts. But if you did, it would be very good for someone like Hojo, whose districts gain an extra adjacency for being near each other. Now I've also been working on the Megacity, and this is the new Megacity design. It's the they're only 3 tiles away. That allows us to do the same thing as we just did on the Triforce City, which is place encampments directly between each one of our city centers, just creating a really difficult to attack setup where, you know, if you're adjacent to a city center sieging it, unless you're like on one of your units can get away with only being bombarded by one thing, but you know the other ones are always going to be getting bombarded by more than one thing, and you can't even attack these encampments without having a city center attacking them. So it's quite good as far as that goes, and because this is compressed compared to the old Megacity, it's easier to build. Again, we've got the standard 4 items that you would definitely have to have in the central city, the Coliseum, and then a commercial district, and commercial hub, industrial zone, and an entertainment complex. These 3 you have to have all of these in your central city so that it can benefit the ones outside of it. But you know, then if you build them on these outer cities, I would recommend placing them so that additional cities that you build can benefit. So that's basically all I've got for this episode of the theory crafting. Now, the next Let's Play for this game, for Civ 6, is going to start soon. And I was talking to I was throwing around an interesting idea for a while, but I derped because for some reason I thought that Polynesia was in Civ 6. They're not. I really hope they get added, but they're not in Civ 6, so I can't do that Moana Let's Play. That would have to be on Civ 5, but I don't want to go back to Civ 5. I'm liking Civ 6. So I need some ideas of what to do. What civilization do you guys want to see me play for the next Let's Play? I was thinking of doing Japan, but we could do something more interesting. We could do like an archipelago map, and I could play like Harold and just start raiding everyone like as a Viking. But you know, let me know what you're thinking, what you think I should do. I quite like these big megacity ideas, so maybe we'll do a continents map or another Pangea or something, and just kind of cover the whole thing in cities. Who knows? So thanks so much for watching. Like and comment the video if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any ideas for future theory crafts, or if there's anything interesting about Civ 6 that you'd like me to make a video on. Join our Discord if you're interested, especially if you'd like to play Civ 6 with me. I'm SentinalhMC, and I'm signing out.